If you think you've seen it all in Red Dead 2, get ready. Today we're going straight to the point. I'm gonna show you 30 facts, curiosities, and dark secrets you probably don't know about the weirdest encounter in the whole game, the infamous Aberdeen family. In this video we'll dig into strange details most players missed, including a secret room in the house, creepy cannibalism theories, missable dialogues, leftover open world content, and the chilling real-life inspiration behind these psychopaths. But to really get how crazy this story is, we need to start with the most disturbing detail of all, which is the foundation of all the madness in this duo, their family ties. As it becomes clear throughout the encounter, the Aberdeens are actually blood brothers, with the pair involved in an incestuous relationship. They grew up on the same farm where they now live as adults, inheriting it from their parents after the couple passed away. But don't feel sorry for the Aberdeens, because actually they killed their own parents. This is revealed when we find Bray writing in his diary,
"It was the only way we'd all have peace. Oh, we kept telling you, leave us alone. Wish we could have given you a proper burial, but things ain't never perfect."
The reason for the patricide couldn't be anything else but disapproval of the incestuous relationship. Unlike what I first thought, the siblings didn't become a couple after their parents died, but while they were still alive, making family life unbearable since the parents never approved of the relationship. As revealed in the opening dialogue by Bray, the place used to be a pig farm, and this is directly connected to how the couple disposed of the parents' bodies since they fed them to the pigs. This is revealed by Bray in one of the entries in his diary.
"But you loved them pigs, and that day they ate well."
And this whole practice of feeding bodies to pigs is more common than you might think. Just do a quick search and you'll find plenty of cases like this. Even though it's a farm spanning dozens of hectares, the couple no longer raises pigs, cows, goats, or any other animals on the property. The reason for this is that their livelihood basically comes from robbing travelers who dare to visit the place. But that's not the only illegal thing the Aberdeens are up to. In Red Dead Online, they also send dishonorable missions to the protagonist involving the player in assassination jobs, stagecoach robberies, horse theft, and more. And then, like almost everything in this game, Rockstar drew inspiration from a real-life event to create the Aberdeens. The inspiration came from the Bender family, a couple of immigrants who lived in Kansas, USA during the 1870s. They ran a small roadside inn and were known for offering food and rest to travelers, but in reality they lured their victims inside the house to kill them and steal their belongings. Just like the Aberdeens, the Benders operated in an isolated spot, used hospitality as bait, and dumped the bodies on land near the property, identical modus operandi to the couple in the game. While exploring Roanoke Ridge, you can come across a Mexican camping out in the wilderness. In his dialogue, he says he passed by the farm and was approached by the couple, who were very friendly and invited him in to enjoy a hot meal. But trusting his gut, the Mexican declined the offer, left, and didn't look back. And as we find out when visiting the farm, the Mexican was right. This camp dialogue serves both to spark the player's curiosity about finding the farm and to warn them about the potential trap they might face. And another thing that almost nobody noticed is that during his dialogue, the Mexican said he found the ranch by crossing the Heartlands region in New Hanover, which makes no sense at all, since the ranch is actually located in the Scarlet Meadows region in Lemoyne.
Like I was riding through the Heartlands the other day and cut through someone's land.
And the reason for this inconsistency can be found in the beta map leaked in 2016. From it, we discovered that originally the Heartlands region was going to be a bit bigger than in the final game, also including the farm area, which in the final game ended up right on the border between the states. On the second floor of the Grand Aberdeen house, there's an object that many people have overlooked. This huge stack of newspapers. But why would the couple collect so many newspapers if they don't even open them? The reason is simple: trophies. Anyone who's watched the Dexter series knows that serial killers tend to keep things that remind them of their victims. In the case of the Aberdeens, it's the articles reporting on the people they've killed. You can also notice this when visiting the lair of the game's biggest serial killer, Edmund Lowry Jr., with several newspaper clippings about his victims' disappearances hanging on the walls. As we found out during the dialogues, the couple spent their childhood in the same house where they now live as adults. The problem is that the house has only one bedroom, which is a bit odd since at least 2 rooms would be needed to accommodate the parents and the couple of kids, so this is probably a development oversight by Rockstar. Still on the second floor, we can trigger a disturbing secret conversation with the brothers if we open a closet door. Inside, we simply find a human skull. After discovering it, Arthur can confront the brothers about the mortal remains.
I found some bones in an armoire. What's that about?
Oh, you met Mama? She always did love visitors. We like to keep her here with us.
So, I opened the door up there and saw some bones. Human bones. Oh, that's my mama. Rest in peace. I just couldn't bring myself to bury her. This way is better.
Besides this secret dialogue, there's also another one that's pretty unknown at Aberdeen Farm. This second secret dialogue can be triggered during the encounter, but this time with Tammy Aberdeen. It happens if Arthur takes the Aberdeen family photo that's on a piece of furniture next to the bed.
An old family photo. It got damaged, unfortunately.
In the photo in the bedroom, both parents' faces are damaged, but this is different from another picture on the side of the wardrobe with the skull. In that one, we see the portrait is broken, but the impact mark is only on the father's face. This suggests the couple might have affection only for the mother, with the greater anger aimed at the father. A fact that supports this is the hiding place for the money, which is behind an intact picture showing only the family matriarch. One subtle thing that few noticed is that the game hints that the Aberdeen family, besides being incestuous siblings, might also be cannibals. This is suggested in a specific line of dialogue from Arthur during dinner, when after tasting Tammy's food, he comments that the food tastes different.
It's good. Different.
Human flesh is often described as having a milder, slightly sweet taste, often compared to pork, while beef usually has a stronger, more distinct flavor. This contrast helps explain the weirdness Arthur feels. It also supports the idea that the meal offered by the Aberdeens might be hiding something way more disturbing than it seems. A cruel twist of fate can be found at the Aberdeen house. If you complete the encounter with them killing some of the brothers and coming back to the place days later, you'll find all the furniture has been looted, something that usually doesn't happen with cabins and houses where we can have this kind of interaction. At the Aberdeen farm, there's a secret room that I only found out about while I was writing this script, just so you know. It's located to the left of the main entrance and can only be accessed from the outside of the house, with its door usually locked. We can get into the area only if we break the window and climb through it, discovering a completely new room on the farm that contains a locker with $22 inside. A fun fact about the Aberdeen family can be discovered if you equip the lasso and try to restrain the couple. In this scenario, you'll find out that while it's possible to lasso Tammy, the same doesn't happen with Bray. The reason for this is the man's large size. Arthur would need at least a couple more meters of rope to be able to tie him up. And still about Bray, a fun fact that many don't know is that the actor who played him in Red Dead 2 has worked on other Rockstar games. His name is Ryan Woodall, and he's done at least 3 projects for the company: the incestuous brother in Red Dead 2, Brad in GTA 5, and Chad in the GTA 4 DLC The Lost and Damned. After being robbed by the couple, all of Arthur's money is left behind the painting. Until we return to the farm and recover it, this allows for a clever glitch to transfer Arthur's money to John in the epilogue, something Rockstar originally didn't plan to be possible. To do this, just take the hit and leave the money at the farm before the last mission of Chapter 6. Then simply finish the epilogue as usual and head back to the farm with John. When you get there, you'll find the farm empty, but Arthur's money will still be stored behind the painting, allowing John to collect it. In the game, there's the Wolf Heart Talisman, which has a pretty curious effect on Arthur, doubling his alcohol resistance and making him less likely to get drunk. And a lot of people think that if you use this talisman during the meeting with Aberdeen, you can actually drink a few more shots at dinner before Arthur passes out. This is a game myth I've heard since the release back in 2018, but to bust this myth, I decided to test it during this video and I found out that it's not true. And the explanation is pretty simple. Arthur doesn't pass out from alcohol because he got drunk, but because he was drugged. There's something else in that drink, so it wouldn't make sense for him to be more resistant to the drink by using the talisman. After drinking and being thrown into the pit, the player can return to the farm. In this scene, we find Tammy cooking near the dining table. Bray is out of the player's sight, but that changes when we use a free camera mod, where we discover that Bray is upstairs smoking a cigar and looking out the window, and even then he doesn't see Arthur coming in through the front door. If you choose not to drink during dinner, you can leave the farm without completing the interaction with Aberdeen. The interesting thing is that unlike what many think, you can still come back the next day and experience an alternate version of the encounter with Aberdeen. In this version, Arthur isn't knocked out by the drink, but by the food Tammy is cooking. A little detail that few notice is that just before Arthur eats the stew, Tammy quickly tosses something into the pot, probably the sedative that immobilizes Arthur. And in this alternate version, Bray isn't on the porch waiting for outsiders, but in the other room writing in his journal, and if the player sticks around for a few moments, they can hear some interesting details about the brothers' lore, stuff that isn't shared during dinner, like why they killed their parents, how they got rid of the body, and the rejection they faced for dating each other. Few people know this, but Rockstar hid a pretty curious Easter egg in the game's credits about the brothers. It says Bray, besides being a pig farmer, is also a family man, with Rockstar clearly poking fun at the fact that he's married to his own sister. Tammy is also described as a pig farmer, but on top of that, she's called a gentle hostess. Oh man, it's little things like this that make me love this company. When we tie up Tammy, we can trigger a secret dialogue that's probably the most unknown in the game. To do this, just take her to the grave near the farm, the exact spot where Arthur's body was dumped. Once there, just throw the brunette in with the other corpses to hear a really deep conversation about the couple's biggest crime.
Please, no, please, I'm sorry, not here, Mama! I'm sorry, Mama, I'm sorry!
In some game scenarios, you can rope a certain criminal and take them to the nearest sheriff's office to collect a reward. But for some reason, you can't do that with Tammy Aberdeen, even though she's probably the biggest serial killer in the entire game. The sheriffs are completely indifferent to the situation, ignoring the killer and not even accusing Arthur of kidnapping her, which usually happens in similar cases, like I recently showed in the Swamp Rapist video, for example. And to wrap up this video with a bang, I've got a phenomenal fact for the 30th part of this video. A pretty interesting interaction that can happen with Bray Aberdeen, but specifically at the moment he asks us to come upstairs and hurry his wife for dinner. At that point, you can loot items from the house, like some canned goods for example, grabbing stuff from the tops of furniture, drawers, and so on. At first, Bray makes a few jokes about the situation, tolerating the thefts because in a little while he's going to drug you and rob you, so it's all good, right? But if you ignore the warnings and keep stealing, there comes a point where he gets up from the chair and demands that Arthur leave the house, and if you ignore that request, Bray instantly turns hostile, which honestly is a pretty big hypocrisy. And this video here was just the tip of the iceberg for the Aberdeen family. There were a bunch of curiosities I had to leave out of this video so it wouldn't lose its focus and get way too long, like. So if you really want to dive deep into this story and uncover all the secret possibilities, missable dialogues, and the darkest layers of this twisted couple's lore, I've got just the right video for you. In it, I explore Aberdeen Farm to the fullest, testing every possible choice and showing consequences that most people have never seen. What happens if you only eliminate the sister, and what if you decide to spare, or send them straight to the grave? It's over 20 minutes of full content, where I pushed it to the limit to reveal everything this encounter hides. If that sounds interesting, just click the yellow arrow and you'll go straight to the video. And before you go, a huge thanks to the channel members. You're the reason all this happens. I'll see you in a few seconds. Big hugs and see you soon. Bye.